And that is one of my favorite heroes, Indiana Jones. In order to beat the British, Washington has to rewrite the playbook. He has to play by different rules. The rules that the British play at, they're the best at the world of fighting that way. The Americans aren't so great at fighting traditional battles with a traditional army. They'll get better as the war goes on, especially with help from Lafayette and von Steuben in reorganizing and retraining our troops. But they have to make their own rules. They have to break the rules of traditional war and fight the British and their allies in places where they wouldn't expect. To this end, the Americans in this way remind me of another movie hero named Indiana Jones. In this scene that we're going to watch, Indiana Jones is looking for his partner, Marion. He's been fighting through a string of different people, and as the crowd clears, there's a swordsman. The guy's bigger, stronger, meaner. He obviously can hack Indy up into bits. How's he going to fight him? Now, is that a fair strategy? No, but in the end, Indiana Jones wins the fight, and the swordsman, well, he wins the ground. And the Americans, in a lot of ways, are like Indiana Jones. They're willing to break the rules in order to win the fight. Because if they play by the British rules, they'll win every time. If Indiana Jones goes into and tries to get into a fist fight with that swords guy, he's going to get chopped up. If he plays by the sword guy's rules, he's done. So, he plays by his own rules. That leads us to the Battle of Trenton. The rules, according to British rules of war, were that you didn't fight during the winter. You took a break. Armies went to their camps in the winter, and they waited to the spring, and then the fighting season started again. You didn't fight war during winter. It was too difficult when you didn't have motorized weapons. You don't have airplanes. You don't have any of those things. You're relying on horses and feet to get around. It was understood that you didn't fight in the winter, and both sides made camp. Well, Washington knows that when the spring comes, his army is done. Unless they can give the American people a reason to believe. He needs to give them a reason to want to keep on fighting, something to hold on to. If you're the average American living in 1776 in December, you're pretty scared. You're pretty upset. The Americans are losing the war. The British are quickly pushing in. A lot of people are thinking, was this a mistake? A lot of fence sitters are looking at the fence saying, maybe I should get back on that fence. And he needs to give the American public a reason to keep on fighting. So, if there was one person or group of people that was hated even more than King George himself in America this time period, it was this group of people, the Hessians. The Hessians were vicious mercenaries who were sent from Germany hired by the British to basically terrorize the Americans. Here you see them going after women and children. This is what they would do. The Hessians would go into villages where most of the people were patriots, and they would attack their families, burn their houses, destroy their fields, because they wanted to get Washington's army to desert the army and go back and help out their families. Really messed up. You see that the Hessians have something that we now call a mustache. That was fashionable for them, but that word mustache didn't exist yet. So the Americans, when they saw dudes wearing this style of facial hair, which they'd never seen before, referred to them as lip beards. So you see these curly mustached, lip-bearded guys with their pointy hats, often speaking a foreign language, coming into people's houses, beating up women, terrorizing kids. You can see why most villains in movies and cartoons often have that curly mustache, because it's in the American soul that villains wear that mustache. So if there's one group of people that Washington would really like to get a victory on, it was the Hessians. Now, the Hessians are from Germany. And if you investigate German culture, one of the things that they're really into is Christmas. Hessians love Christmas. Germans love Christmas. Many of the traditions that we have in the United States and around the world that happen on Christmas all come from Germany. Christmas tree, the Tannenbaum. Oh, Tannenbaum comes from German culture. Christmas carols, German culture. Sinterklaas, Santa Claus, German culture. The Germans essentially invented Christmas. And Christmas for the British wasn't that big of a holiday yet. So when these German guys are away from their families now on Christmas night, they decide that they're going to celebrate like they are in Germany. And one of the things that the Germans do is they party on Christmas night. They eat, they drink, they carry on a lot, they sing and dance. This is what they do. And they figure they're safe. No one's going to bother them. The Americans are in Pennsylvania. They don't fight during war. Let's party. Well, Washington is a smart dude. He's really good at getting intelligence, really good at using spies, and he finds out that the Hessians are going to be doing this. He also knows that there's going to be a massive snowstorm coming in that can hide his movements. So Washington has his troops get on the bank of a freezy, ice-cold, blizzard-ravaged Delaware River and has them go on rafts to go and board 7 miles away from Trenton where they are, to then march through the blizzard, march through the snow, so they can surprise the Hessians the morning after they were partying all night and take them unaware and wipe them out. Well, guess what? It works. The Hessians either are all killed or captured. The Americans lose one soldier, one in the entire battle. And that wasn't to fighting, it was to hypothermia. He froze to death. Washington then is going to use this to then, since the British now don't have the Hessians protecting them, he attacks the British forces in Princeton and gets a double victory. In the course of the war, does this, disable the British Army, change the... No, it keeps Americans' morale up. You know what? Things are tough. Food is scarce. We're losing a lot of battles. But man, we knocked the heck out of those Hessians on Christmas night. It wasn't old St. Nick, but old St. George that came down their chimney and gave them a bayonet for Christmas. And we're also going to see that the Hessians' major role is going to definitely be greatly reduced in the war after the Battle of Trenton. So here's another depiction of our friends, the Hessians, with their lip beards and pointy hats. And here's probably one of the most famous paintings in American history, Washington crossing the Delaware, which is beautiful, but horribly historically inaccurate. They were sneaking across the river in a blizzard in the night. Do you think that Washington would be standing up with a flag waving as they're doing a sneak attack? Probably not. Look at how much taller Washington is than everyone. Now, Washington was a tall guy, but he wasn't Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, come on. So there's a bit of artistic exaggeration here. It's a little bit more of an accurate depiction of him getting off the boat. You can see his face is only lit because of the torch as they're about to step onto the side of New Jersey after crossing an icy, cold, blizzardy Delaware River. So, my question for you for this lesson is, one, was the number one goal for the British to get victory in the American Revolution? And I want you to compare that to the number one goal of the Continental Army to get victory in the American Revolution. Here's a clue. They are opposites. Think of the boxers. And how the events of the New York campaign and the Battle of Trenton helped the Americans toward their overall goal. Thanks for watching. Post up your answers below. And have a marvelous Tuesday.